Welcome back to Good Day Tampa Bay. It's 6:41. He has a lot on his plate these days. Rick Scott is still the governor, and he's running for Senate against Bill Nelson. And the governor is in the studio this morning to talk with us about a few things. Governor, you there?
I'm here now.
Hey, sorry, I knew you couldn't hear for a second. They told me to stretch, so I was doing the intro as slowly as I could. Good to see you. Welcome. It's good to have you here.
Good morning.
All right, let's get to it. I'm intrigued by this recommendation to designate 427 communities across every Florida county as these low tax opportunity zones. What is this?
Well, what's going to do is as you know, I care about jobs for each and every family in our state, and we're going to have 100 zones right here in the Tampa area where it's areas where there will be tax incentives so companies will grow there. You know, one of the issues you have is you want to make sure, you know, everybody has the opportunity for a great job. And so these opportunity zones are going to go into certain areas. I think there's 427 in the entire state, 100 right here in Tampa, and hopefully spur more economic development. As you know, I've been part of cutting, since I got elected, I've been focused on tax reductions. We've cut taxes almost 100 times, over $10 billion. And it's one of the reasons why we now have 1.5 million jobs in our state in the last 7 years.
You know, and I'll be honest with you, until I started reading about it, doing my little homework for this interview, I didn't even know this program existed, but this is part of the Federal Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. This is a federal program, right?
That's right. This is part of Trump's tax cut at the end of last year. And you know, I think the federal government followed our lead and started understanding that if we want more job growth around the country, they need to follow Florida's lead and start cutting more taxes, cutting more regulations, streamline the permitting process. So I'm glad that the federal government did this. And we've got, as part of these opportunity zones, which means we're going to get more jobs in our state, which I want to finish my 8 years as governor, making sure we continue to be the leading state for job growth.
You were in Puerto Rico yesterday. You've been several times, I guess, since Hurricane Maria. What does it look like down there now?
I know everybody's working hard. This is my 5th trip since the hurricane happened, their Hurricane Maria. And as you know, unfortunately, they got both Irma and Maria. And so we've had a lot of individuals come here. Almost 500,000 people flew through Florida. Now, it doesn't mean they all stayed here. I've tried to make sure we help them. We opened up 2 relief centers, one in Orlando, one in Miami. And then I've been over there. I've taken utility companies over there. I've been working with their governor, constantly talking to them and their speaker and their Senate president to say, what can we do to help you? We've sent a lot of people all over our state, including a lot of people from Tampa, sent a lot of supplies to Puerto Rico. So you can see there's a lot of progress. There's a lot of work to do. I went and visited on top of meeting with the governor and the speaker, I met with the Red Cross and thanked them for all their hard work. I went and sat down with their emergency management team and FEMA, saying as they prepare for this coming hurricane season like we are, can we be helpful? Would you like to participate in our, we have a governor's hurricane conference. Mm-hmm. We do tabletop exercises for a potential hurricane, things like that.
Let's get to the Senate race if we can for a minute. One of the things you've been talking about, as you announced, and then I've seen some of the commercials, is term limits. Now, this sounds great to a lot of people, get rid of the career politicians, but is it a practical thing to do? Do you lose experience when you do something like this?
Well, we have it here. We have it in Florida. We have it for a House and have it for a Senate. In most states, you can only be a governor for 2 terms, 8 years, which I think makes sense. The president could only be there for 8 years, right. 2 4-year terms. I think it makes sense. We've got to get fresh ideas. We've got to get new ideas. And here's where I think Americans are thinking. Washington actually has not been working very well for us. And so it's the one place where we have career politicians. So why do we keep doing the same thing and think we're going to get a different result? We need to have fresh ideas, new ideas. That's why I think it's important that we have term limits for Congress, both in the House and for the Senate. And I think it'll maybe energize Washington to get more things, you know, for each of us.
I want to get back to the governor's job. I said a lot on your plate these days, but I want to talk to you about...
It's a good job, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. This Hernando County Commission meets today. First time since this commissioner, Nicholas Nicholson, was arrested on these prostitution charges. He's not resigned so far. You can suspend him, then the state can vote to have him removed. What are you going to do here? Do you know yet?
Well, we're reviewing it. It's very disappointing. You know, we expect everybody elected and anybody that gets appointed to anything to sort of take care of us to live at the highest, to the highest standards. And so my office is reviewing that, and we'll be making a decision very quickly.
Governor, I know that you are headed up north today. You've got the funeral for those two officers that we lost. Please give those families our best, will you?
No, it's horrible. You know, these are all families. We have 2 law enforcement officers we lost in Gilchrist. I've attended all the funerals in our state, and your heart goes out to every family that loses their loved one like this.
Governor, thank you. Good to see you as always. Come back soon, will you?